Hello, and welcome back to part 2 of the ALD 606 module on the community college movement. In part 1, we talked about the basics, history, structure. We had a focus on financing and the ever-hot presidential topic, tuition-free community college. This module is going to focus on the challenges that we have. Where do we lean in to get better results? And what is the framework for doing that? And our focus will be on a structured degree program, a replication study here at Cuyahoga Community College that has shown great results in the CUNY system. Let's get started. So what is our challenge? Well, the challenge in community colleges is that we are the victim of our own success. The success of community colleges in terms of access has created all kinds of institutional policies and roles and expectations that we have 100 students come to us and that only a handful will succeed. But that's okay because every student had the right to try and the right to fail. And that is just not a good way to look at our systems. Those students who failed, they often found gainful family-sustaining wages in other places. That is just not true today. The other is that we have low completion rates. So we have students who come to us and get debt, not large dollar amounts, but many who do get debts, and then they're carrying debt as well as no better way to a good job. The changing labor market I'll focus on, and the skills gap of what's happening. There's been a one-third shift in the labor force. And the result of that, the cost of college and America's confidence in the system. You can look here at the CNN Money American Dream poll. 59% of Americans believe that the American dream is no longer achievable. They talk more about debt and what isn't being done as opposed to reaching the dream. We talk about the fact that this generation will be the first generation who will be less educated than the one before them, not able to buy the very family home that they grew up in. Complete College Ohio is a framework for having that discussion, and there's a couple of optional readings that you can look at concerning the state as well as Cuyahoga and Cleveland State's approach. The data is from 2014 and is currently being refreshed, so I didn't make it a required reading, but take a look at it if you want to see what's happening. But take a look here, that in public two-year schools, the graduation rate is 8 out of 100 in 4 years. 8 out of 100. That is not good enough. Public four-year universities, 32 out of 100. And their executives, their presidents, their provosts, their deans say the same thing. Not good enough. Here's the challenge that I talked about in terms of the workforce. And if you have a chance, check out Tony Carnaval and the Georgetown University Center for Jobs and Education. This is a very telling chart. And here's the way to look at the chart. The blue is about post-high school, post-secondary. The brown is about everything up through the 12th year. And if you look back in 73, a generation ago, with when you had 91 million in the workforce, only 28% really needed to have a post-secondary degree or certificate to get a good job. As an example, right here in Cleveland at the Brook Park Ford plant, running 3 shifts at 25,000 people earning good family-sustaining wages. Now, here we are, and it's projected through 2018, very close to that right now, with 166 million more jobs. We have 166 million, but 62% now need a post-secondary degree or certificate. The blue grows and grows and grows. And it's some college to 2-year degree to 4-year and above. Now, frankly, if you look at master's degree or better, 7, 10, 11, 10, that's not the market. The market is more below that. Look at bachelor's degrees going from 9 to 23, associate degrees 12 to 17. So you really need to move the market forward. By the way, that same Brook Park plant is running 3 shifts of a new engine, and they're very happy, and they have 5,000 jobs. 5,000. That is a 20,000 job shift just in the automotive Ford plant here in Ohio. If I look at other places, the stamping plant that's in Twinburg, or the Econoline van plant that's in Northfield, they're both shut down. One's been demolished and the other just sits there. Those jobs are gone. So it's not just the 20, there's other thousands of jobs in the Rust Belt and the automotive that have changed, and we have to get better at what we do. So a 1/3 shift in the labor market, no safety net for people. 8% is not going to cut it. Here it is expressed by Complete College Ohio. By 2020, 59% will require some type of certificate or degree, and we're at 36. So we have to close a 23% skills gap. That's a real focus of the community colleges. As an example, American Enterprise Institute tells us from 2012, if we lose half our students in the first year, pretty common thing to have happen. Oh, surprising, lose half. But if we were to cut that down to 25%, the state of Ohio would have $80 million just from salaries alone from students who have survived the process. $70 million from students in wages and taxes. So this is not uncommon, Ohio. I know we're in the Rust Belt, but it's around the country. So American Association of Community Colleges put together a huge panel of experts with 3 chairs, co-chairs. One of them was Dr. Thornton from Cuyahoga Community College, the president at the time, to redesign the experience that students had, reinvent the roles that we have, and reset our institutions, the new 3 R's of the community college movement. If you look at the redesigned experience, it's about a focus on success and completion. American Graduation Initiative by President Obama, if you look at it from 2010 to 2020, 5 million new graduates nationwide. I was at Harper College at the time, and we did the math on this. I helped write the math on this. They needed 10,604 new degrees. Here at Cuyahoga, when I got back to Cuyahoga for my fellowship, immediately sat down and did this with our people. We need 13,000, a little over 13,000 degrees to have our fair share of AGI. So that's what's going to help us decrease unpreparedness, cut it in half, and close that skill job gap and get people jobs. If you look at reshaping the movement, it isn't each little community college on its own. It's very much about redefining our roles at the institution. I am much more about student success than other campus presidents or provosts have been, and we are very targeted towards it, and a lot of it is collaboration. We're one of the founding partners in Achieving the Dream, which is a Lumina Foundation. We're also participants in Completion by Design from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and most recently, we've been connected to the MDRC study on structured programming to increase completion with the Great Lakes Foundation. So we don't do these things alone. We do them with other partners. So resetting the system is all about targeted investments with new incentives for institutions and students. For example, we have a couple of $1 million in completion scholarships because we know the last 15 hours are actually as hard as the first 15 hours. And we implement policies and practices to promote rigor, transparency, and accountability. So we have our own metrics at the college: graduation rates, retention rates, developmental math rates, and where we used to live by the metric of an enrollment table, now we live by the metric of the success table. We really do that. And we've implemented many policies like not letting students enter after the first day of class. Great policy that really helps academic quality. So let's look at the movement by looking at things that we do in 3 parts, not the redesign, reinvent, more than completion pathways. And completion pathways, which is part of Completion by Design in Ohio, talks about the notion of structuring pathways along a 3-part journey. And if you look at it here, connection, entry, progress, and completion. Now they lay it out in 4 parts. I think completion, College Complete Ohio really kind of puts connection and entry together, so it's really 3. So connection and entry is kind of 1, progress is 2, and completion is 3. So in the state of Ohio, we actually have Complete College Ohio, which is optional readings for you to kind of look at, is to connect, progress, and complete. By the way, when Cuyahoga first looked at this, we found that we had, close to 50 different initiatives, and well over 30 plus, 33, 34, 36, were all at connection and entry. And there were very, very few on progress and completion. So it got us to switch our focus so that students were constantly being connected. So this involves having a metric orientation. That is, you want to be focused and know what your numbers are. You are what you measure some days. So if you don't know what your retention rate is and don't know your iPad's graduation and where your iPad students are, then you can't improve it. It's also path-driven. Students don't do optional, is what Kay McClenny says. She's a national author in our movement. And so we've created structure, structure, structure. What was access is far more now about structure and structure. And big thing for us, first-year experiences. So, one of our solutions is having a structured first-year set of experiences that include new student orientation, new student convocation, a first-year seminar of 1 credit, and mentoring that leads to the creation of an academic plan. These are all the things that schools are doing in Complete College Ohio, and there is both the Cleveland State Plan, which, by the way, focuses on developmental math, same way that we focus on developmental math. They use Starfish and try to get more faculty office hours and connections with student, where we do stuff with FYE and mentoring, and they do early alerts, we do early alerts. So 2-year, 4-year, if you're focused on completion, you're going to notice that we do a lot of the same things. So let's look at, if you want to look at the entry level and FYE success, has that worked for us? So we went full bore last fall from 0 to all incoming freshmen taking a set of freshman year experiences. And if you divide them into 3 groups, those who didn't take them, who tried to sneak away from our, required, for those who took the FYE, all the experiences, and then for those who completed those experiences, there is a direct linear correlation. Is it a causation? Too early to tell, but a direct linear correlation in terms of their GPA, in terms of their retention rate, in terms of their success at the school, hours attempted and hours earned. In every case, students who completed the FYE outperformed those who only took a piece of it and dropped out, or those who avoided it altogether. They've outperformed them across the board. And FYE success rates were about almost 60% in the fall of 14, and they're well up to 70% in the fall of 15. Someone doesn't pass FYE. I taught one, and I had a few students who did not pass. Broke my heart. They were required to take it again until they did pass. So, it's a 1-credit course. It's a real course. So the other part then is progress, and this is where our reading is going to come in on Degree in 3. So Degree in 3 is the replication done by the MDRC, it's kind of a data movement, of the ASAP program, Accelerated Study and Associate Programs at the CUNY system in New York. They had 20, 30+% completion rate increases by using this. So under progress, right, so FYE is more under connection. Under progress, we're using Degree in 3. And I didn't want to just use the word accelerated. I kind of authored that word. Degree in 3 means you come here and you get a degree in 3 years. You would think it would be easy, but that's not so easy in our systems. We provide free tuition for these students. They get textbook vouchers. They get monthly stipends like gas cards, personalized academic advising and counseling, and free summer classes. Summer classes are supports classes for their work. And we're seeing good results with it. That structure is really working. And it is a completion study. So we have 2 groups. We have a group of students who are in the program and a group of students who match them demographically who are not getting those same incentives. So if you look at the control group, program and control, they're fairly, the size of them is about the same. The students with developmental ed, they're about the same. But if you look at credits attempted and credits earned, typically both in spring and in fall, the students in the ASAP program with the incentives took more classes and completed more credits. They also had higher GPAs. We also had a better retention rate. So like FYE, when we moved to a structured program, students who were in this program are doing better than those who are not. Now, I'm going to group to scale this. We talked about free tuition. So how do we scale this? And that's why, Cuyahoga is very much interested in the notion of a free community college, structuring in structured programs like this. So under completion, so we looked at connection, progress, completion. It's about leveraging multiple solutions together. It's not any one thing. One would be the 15 Perks program. If you take 15 hours and go from 12 to 15, because financial aid's built on 12. President Obama had this. This is an article you can read. It's all about completion, completion, completion. We know that students who take 15 hours actually do as well as the students in 12 hours, and they complete quicker. We know this from data that we've seen. So we leverage multiple solutions. Oddly enough, under culture, simply moving to a second commencement, we thought it would kind of split the audience up, but we've increased because by talking about commencement more, doing it more, kind of connecting with students more, it turns out when you do it, talk about it, students actually set a goal. And that has actually helped us in terms of increasing. The other is building stackable certificates. In the hospitality program, the Center of Excellence that I have the honor of leading, when I go to their graduation, they give them all a pineapple pin. It's absolutely a wonderful ceremony. And when I handshake students and talk with them, they present themselves like this. Hi, I'm Rachel. I have an associate degree in hospitality and my certificate in personal chef. Every student in the program is getting a certificate of some kind that helps their labor market value that is embedded into the degree. So if they don't complete the degree, they still have the certificate. Or put it better, you get them in the certificate and then connect them to the degree. I already talked about the 15 perks, the financial incentives, and then support. So the Metropolitan Campus got a grant, again, using those partners that we talked about. I believe that was from Cleveland Foundation. They got a grant to build a transition center to help students, particularly transfer students. And we have employment centers. We have career centers for students that are direct to job to help build their resume and do stuff. But we need centers to help students do the transfer. And they've had very good success, the Metro Campus. So we're starting ours this spring, and we're doing some things. Our roadmap's a little bit different. So we'll take what they do and kind of tweak it to our audience, but we're primarily a transfer campus. So we're very excited about doing this. So, and I mentioned before, completion scholarships. So having money available for students in the last 9, 12, 15 hours, we can approach students that are close and say, where are you? And they'll say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. We'll just go right out and say, hey, we're going to give you, you've got a good GPA, you've gotten so far, here, we've got some money for you to help complete. And I've got no shame in saying there's nothing wrong with buying some graduates. They're doing all the work and we're helping them, but it does feel that way. It's like I'm buying those people, but it really is a good solution. So it's about multiple things that we do that are together in the culture, in the curriculum, in incentives, financial, in support that we provide people, and in funding mechanisms. You have to leverage that. That's what the new way of doing complex systems is about. The synergy of leveraging many things together and not having little silos of excellence that don't build off of their successes. So what did that mean for us? Well, take a look here from 2004, where we had 1,541 graduates, and this is the year right before I came to the institution. And you look right now, when we walked across the stage, 4,308 people. I pause, you can applaud if you like, but it's pretty darn impressive. Now, our graduation rate was in the 3 to 4 range. It's moved up to the 5, moved up to the 9, got to 10 in the last year. We're about to go to 15 next year. So we're moving the percentage as well as moving the numbers. 240% increase over a decade in graduation. So we're very proud. Now, we know we started low, but that's still very impressive. How impressive is that? Well, if you look at our share here, compared to others. I told you we need about 13,000 graduates over a 10-year period. And if you look at the little deeper teal, which is our baseline is the line that runs across. If we just did nothing, we'd have about 2,400 graduates a year. So when we're at 4,308, we are easily at this point 700 per year ahead of the pace that we need to. We need to get to 45, 46 a year. So if every community college in the country did what we're doing, we would easily reach the AGI $5 million pledge, and we would close the skill gap. There is absolutely no doubt about it. So do we have work to do here at Cuyahoga? Oh yeah, but very happy with the progress that we've made, because these are complex things and hard to do. So much so that we were a finalist, one of a few. We did not win the award, but one of a handful of finalists for what's called the Bellwether Award, which is one of the top honors in the community college world. And we got that honor for this very chart and the things that we did for completion. So we've gotten national recognition for our best practices in how to be more focused on completion. So we're nearing the end of the module, and what readings do we have? I do want you to read the AACC 21st Century Report, which is kind of gets you thinking a little bit strategically. I'm a strategic thinker, and you'll get that during the personal journey in part 3. The other is read a little bit about the CUNY, so you'll see the study, the ASAP study, and kind of see where it is, so you get a flavor of why we're anxious to replicate it here. Now, optionally, I've given you the Complete College Ohio. You can kind of take a look at it. I've got both the CSU and the Tri-C there. It's optional because those plans were written in 2014. We're revising them right now, so some of the very things in there have been done, completed, and we're kind of moving on. Our discussion question is very much about the D3 model. So we have a growing group of students. As we get off the access horse and get on the completion horse, there becomes more and more students kind of stranded in our system. We have more prereqs. You can't enter after the first day of class. You're not in a pathway. Your schedule is going to be a little bit different. These students particularly who are at the lowest level of mathematics, lowest level of mathematics being Math 910 for us, 3 steps away, 6% completion. 6% of them get a math course. Many of them wind up on standards of academic progress. They then don't have access to financial aid. So now that we're, we've moved the access or the focus from access to success, what do? We have close to 2,000 students who are not college ready. So the more that we hit the quality bar and kind of nudge people in a certain direction, what do we do with 2,000 students every year who frankly are somewhere between the 5th and 9th grade in mathematics? What do we do? And so this is an interesting kind of way to do it. So D3 is really kind of the structured program method that has been very successful, but how do we apply that to a group of people that aren't even ready at that point? So think about that one. I think it's a great question. So if you like nuts and bolts, like digging into something, kind of thinking it through, this is a good question for you. The first question was very much a policy question. This is very much a nuts and bolts question. And by the way, your third question will be very much a strategic question. So that's all I've got, and we'll move it on to part 3. Thank you.